Okay, so people in the neighbourhood were starting to hear the noise and would ask them questions and things. So we moved off that property and we went to live at Redland Bay, more in town. So we actually had close neighbours either side. And instead of us leaving the school, Carbrook School at the time, somehow the bus driver, he used to live a couple of doors over, a couple of streets over from where we lived. He used to drive us all the way out to Carbrook School to take us to school and then pick us up. So, of course, we would leave really early in the morning with him and he would take us out there and drop us off at school. So, of course, we got there early again and we were always the last ones to be picked up. So he would pick up all the local kids for the Redland Bay School and take all them home, and then he'd come out to Carbrook School and pick us up. So once again, we were left to our own devices. Not a good thing when you're country kids. But anyway, this did happen, and I'm building up to a story about my brother here, so I'll be back. So we'd go and visit other friends around the neighbourhood at near the school while we were waiting for the bus. I think the bus got there about 4:30 in the afternoon or something, so that would give us an hour and a half that we could go off and do things. Of course, we just sat there waiting for the bus. But at least we got to spend more time with our friends. And we'd go and do our homework sometimes, and their mums and that would give us cookies and things, so that was really good. But anyway, my brother went to see one of his friends who went to the school, and our bus used to drive past there, so it was sort of a fair distance away from the school. And I said to my brother when he was going there, I said, "Don't you miss the bus." So he gave me his bag, so I took it on the bus. And I said, "Don't you miss that bus. You make sure you're at the bus stop." He wasn't. As the bus went driving past, I see my brother running down through the paddock, coming to catch the bus, and he's screaming out, and I'm screaming at the bus driver, "Stop, it's my brother, it's my brother." And he didn't. He put his foot down and just kept going. He was just as nasty as my stepfather, actually. That must have been the era. You know, kids deserve discipline, and you do deserve a smack on the backside from time to time, but not like we got. So anyway, I got off the bus, and my little sister got off the bus and went and told my mother, and she wasn't happy, but my stepfather wasn't home at this stage. But not long after my stepfather got home, my brother rang the next door neighbours, because we didn't have a phone, and the next door neighbours calling out at the kitchen window saying, "Michael's on the phone, he's missed the bus, can you go and pick him up?" And my stepfather said, "Tell him to start running." So she did. And we waited for a little while, and then my stepfather gathered mother and us two girls in the car, and we went looking for my brother. And by this time he'd made it sort of to the turn-off of the road where we used to live, the first big property. And my stepfather sort of turned around and come up behind him, and he went to get in the door, whereas my stepfather said, "No, keep running." So then my brother was running in front of the car, and my stepfather's driving right behind him. His heels were hitting the bumper bar of the car constantly. And of course I'm stressing in the back of the car thinking, he's going to run him over. And every time my brother would slow down, he would rev the car up and trying to run him over. Well, this man stopped going the opposite direction and put his head out and said, "Is everything all right here?" And my stepfather just said, "Yeah, just a bit of discipline. He disobeyed something." And the man just said, "Oh, yeah, righto," and off he went. Well, my stepfather tormented him for a little while, probably about half an hour or something. I don't know. I was only little, I didn't know the time. And then he just drove off and left him there. So my brother had to actually run all the way home. So anyway, my brother got home really, really late. It was well and truly, well, I was actually in bed when he got home, and I was laying there waiting to hear him come in, and I heard him come in, and I got out of bed and went and said, you know, are you all right? And so he was really upset. His feet were bleeding, he couldn't move, and then of course my stepfather heard, so he came out and he took the belt off and gave my brother a flogging. And I got a bit of a flogging too because I got out of bed and I shouldn't have. But after the run that my brother had and his feet were in a mess, he hadn't eaten, and, you know, discipline's one thing, but that is just absolute torture. And to hit me just because I got out of bed to check to see if my brother was all right, he was a monster. All three of us kids skipped school one day, and we waited for... My mother went in and got dropped off into town with my stepfather early that morning, so us kids were supposed to get on the bus and go to school. We were going out to Cardwell School, and we decided we weren't going to go, we were going to skip school. So we hid in the bushes while the bus went past, so he didn't see us. And we spent the day down at Redland Bay Beach and fluffing around in the bushes and doing things just as we did, I suppose. But in some ways we look forward. Oh, sorry, I just couldn't help but laugh at that one. Anyway, we didn't get caught. We got away with it. So a little while after that, my brother wanted to skip school again. And I said, no, I'm not, because it was the Beanley show coming up. And I used to enter into the handwriting competitions because I had really nice handwriting when I was young. And I used to do a lot of drawing, sketches, mainly charcoal drawings. And I remember I'd done this huge, big, kind of like derelict house, big old house, and I wanted to put it, it was the last day to get it finished and get it into the show, so I thought, I'm not going. But my brother and sister did. But, and I don't know why my stepfather's car was at home. He must have gone to work with somebody else. Anyway, his car was at home. And because we were country kids, particularly my brother, he could drive the car. So they took my stepfather's car out for the day. Oh my God. And they went all the way out to where we used to live on the first big property. They ran off the road or parked on the side and they got stuck. So they walked down and found this farmer, and he come and pulled them out with the tractor. My brother said to this man, he said, oh, my father's just walked down the road to try and get help. You know, can we get a pull out? So anyway, the farmer pulled them out of the ditch and they went back off on their way. And then they gathered a whole heap of soft drink bottles and milk bottles and whatever they could find, and they got money and put it in the car. And anyway, the old farmer at the back of us, where we now lived at Redland Bay, because they drove all around that area too, seen them driving the car. Well, he rang the police. Oh. Yeah, so this old farmer rang the police. They got pulled up and the car was parked up. And anyway, I got home from school and off the bus, and I went inside, and it's like, my parents are home. And they're into me saying, you know, did you know what happened here? What happened here? And I thought, I didn't know. I went to school. I said, I just thought that they missed the bus because my little sister wanted to go to the toilet with some kind of excuse. I said, so I didn't know, little white lie. And I wasn't getting dragged into it. I wasn't going to go. I said, well, what happened? Well, anyway, then they told me, and that they got a huge flog, my poor brother. But he did deserve that. He did deserve that, but I still felt really sorry for him and for my little sister because she got a flogging too. And I got spoiled. I got to have the whole bottle of soft drink by myself. I know, it's not funny, is it? But I was a good girl. I didn't get in trouble for a change. I just remembered something else as we were growing up, another thing that we used to do a lot. We would go to Stratty, and like this is through the whole of my childhood, and my parents had other friends who owned a big pig farm in the hills of Pimpernel, which is but halfway between Beenleigh and the Gold Coast kind of thing. So we'd go out there and visit, and my stepfather had hit a cow one day coming home from work when we lived on the last property before we moved to Redland Bay, and so that cow was retired out to these other people's places, but we were allowed to drive it when we were out there, and for some reason it had no back seat in. I don't know, the back seat was taken out. I remember there'd just been, or it might have just been all Hessian bags on the back seat. But anyway, we'd get in this car, there'd be, probably 5 of us or something, and we weren't supposed to be doing this. We were supposed to be off doing a job, something, but we'd go, the dogs would be in the back and us kids, and we'd go driving, and we'd go. They had big piles of chicken feathers everywhere because they used to sort of feed the chicken pieces or whatever to the pigs. Anyway, we'd drive through these big piles of feathers, and there'd be feathers going through the car everywhere. But one day we drove through this big pile of feathers, and there was a stump in the middle, and we hit this stump and we come to a dead stop, and of course we all went flying everywhere, but one of the boys who was in the back, because he was sort of sitting in between the seats kind of thing, and he went flying straight into the dash, hit the dash, and he might have even gone through the windscreen, I can't remember, but he got 150 stitches in his face. Oh my God, he was a mess. We got in trouble again that day.